Hello, 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 and welcome to Almost 30 Podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's Krista and Linz, and we're so happy you're here.
We're so
Happy
grateful.
December. It's the 1st of December.
It is the 1st of December, 2022, and we are rolling right into 2023. It feels crazy, but
Hmm.
I recently did a post on my Instagram about the desire to finish the year strong and how I'm like so over that. And I want us to finish the year soft,
Yeah,
just
man.
slowly mosey on into the holidays. We're
Yeah.
not going to rush. We're not going to push. We're just gonna see what it brings.
Yeah, I love that post. It's that like soft landing rather than the fucking sprint
Yeah,
to
man.
your first day of vacation. Um, and I think what feeds that is both internal, but mostly external, where there's this I feel like it starts around Thanksgiving where it's like, "Okay, gotta
100%.
rush to, like, shop for everything and make sure we get all the sales,"
Yeah.
just all of that hubbub, and then there's the pressure from work or whatever you're involved in to get things finished before the holiday break, and then also this pressure of, like, the new year and being like, "What did I do this last year? Like, am I even proud of it? Did I get all the things done that I said I would was going to get done?" And yeah, just kind of this, like, very intense life evaluation that we do.
Yeah, I just think it's usually like the fitness influencers.
Oh, challenges.
Yeah, that is literally
Challenges.
that are like, have you hit your goals of whatever the heck your goals were? And it's like, I've got an opportunity for you. I've got an opportunity for you to hit your goal of a 3-minute plank
They're
and,
like 12 days of dumbbells, and you're like,
yeah,
"No."
honestly, getting you the body you want, time to crush your goals, blah, blah, blah. But, I was with Aaron and Hannah, some of our friends the other day, and it was funny because we were so in our hearts with our conversation. We were just, like, having this juicy heart conversation, and then we were saying, what would be our goal for the rest of the year? What would be the one goal we would want to achieve? And it was interesting because it got us all into our heads again where
Mm.
we just started talking about launches, and I was like, "Oh, this is just fascinating." None of us were like, "Oh, I wanna," you know, it's hard to even think about when we're thinking about end of the year, like, what the goal would be that would be soft or gentle
Yes.
or nourishing because it's like an opposite of a goal. You don't really make
Yes.
goals to be as juicy as possible. You're like, "I have a goal of being juicy, but how do I do that? Like, what's the process
Mhm.
for it?" But in my post I basically just said life doesn't begin or end when January comes around. Life is more about being productive and checking your to do list off instead of finishing the year strong or finding ways to fill up your lists and spend more time being productive. How about you listen to the call of your heart? Where do you need to
Mhm.
find more time, more space, more tenderness? Where are you attached to numbers, metrics, lists, doing, doing, doing? The end of the year can be simple. It does not require any complex practices. It is simple, it is rest, it is dancing, it is silence. When are we not pushing? When are we not listening to the desire for more still? When are we in reverence for how far we have come? When are we in tune with the seasons or our lives and our bodies? Do not try strategizing and planning and listiculing your life. Live the life you've been given. The moment you become closed off to the basic phenomenon of life and you start clinging to things, you have missed the target. And that
Mhm.
is the message
Beautiful.
and lesson for me today. As I am
Listicle, I like that
totally listicle
word.
number outside energy focused
And
completely.
the
So
seasons piece is something that, I feel like we think about more when winter hits, but I was thinking, and we were talking about this before we hopped on, just the fact that LA, and I was there for a while and kind of felt this and didn't know it was affecting me, was the non-seasons, basically. You're kind of
I
in
know.
a similar season, which is like honestly the best for the most part. It's so nice to be able to be outside all year and have, basically sunshine all year long. But then there's like this, yeah, you're missing the seasons and like the cyclical nature that helps you and ushers you through different periods. And like I was walking earlier and it's like really cold here. And I was on the phone with my mom and I was like, "Yeah, I'm just kind of like excited to hibernate a little bit." Not even realizing like the winter thing, but I was like, "Yeah, it does feel just like I'm being held into kind of a period of hibernation and like what does that look like and what does that mean?" And I think in LA it was kind of the go 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 feeling a lot of the time because there wasn't this sense of seasons. Do you
100%.
experience that?
Yeah, I was in Oregon this past weekend, and I mean, seeing the leaves turn on trees is this is how old I am. There's nothing better than crunching and munching on leaves when you're walking around or seeing the leaves change or seeing a little bit of snow on the ground or being near a fire and, allowing yourself to rest and go in. And in Los Angeles, it feels a little torturous. Like it feels wrong almost to be in this constant state of the sunshine and the
Mhm.
sameness of it.
Mhm.
Love Los Angeles, but it is pretty painful. So I'm looking forward to hopefully going back to the Midwest for a little bit for the holidays and really, really soaking that in and, like disassociating with my family and just, like talking about the same old thing and
Uh,
that
sometimes
whole
it blows my mind sometimes, like, going back home and, like, the things you can kinda dread about it, sometimes after you've maybe done a little work, a little releasing around particular aspects of that, it can almost become less of a thing and more comical and just kind of like you're the ultimate just observer of all things
Mhm.
interesting about where you're from.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's all the vibe that you feel, and if you're there for the right amount of time, it's funny and fun and interesting. You're like, "Oh,
Yes.
yeah, this is where they're doing this thing, and I'm doing this thing, and we're all doing this thing together," but if you're there for a little bit too long, you're like,
Totally.
"Help,
Yeah, you
help
gotta know
me."
when to jet.
Help me. But I'd love to talk a little bit about before we get into the interview today, which I'm excited about. I'd love to talk about some winter health um, practices that Lindsay and I leverage. And these are things that I do here in Los Angeles or whenever I'm in colder weather. I really, really love to apply to my life. I think the most important thing that I really like to work with or integrate when we're talking about a colder season, whether it's fall or winter, is allowing myself more sleep and really allowing myself to rest during the times that it's darker. So it's probably getting dark around 5:30 here, and really, really letting that be a sign for myself to settle down and rest way earlier. Um, and hopefully try to be as much in the rhythms with natural light as possible, being with the natural circadian rhythm of life. So I usually get around 9 hours of sleep when it's wintertime because there's nothing really good happening after 8 p.m. on your phone or TV. So it's really, really nice to be sleeping in these longer seasons and letting yourself rest.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think, you know, those out there listening can think about, during that summer season, you probably have a little bit more energy. You're getting more sunlight, so you have a little bit more energy to give. You might feel a bit more social, um, and I'm sure a lot of you feel that just need to, like, rest and recharge during the winter season, so allowing yourself that and I honestly feel sad when I get up when it's still dark. Not that
Yeah.
that's necessarily a good or bad thing, but yeah, it's just something that I like to go with the light, where it's
Mhm.
like the sun goes down, there is that just signal, we're getting ready for bed. What does that look like? We're eating earlier is another thing that I love to do, starting to like cook dinner like just before the sun goes down and then like having it just like right as the sun goes down is just like a nice little marker for me. So I know I'm getting like at least a couple hours before I go to bed to digest. Um, and another thing, just on the note of food, just making sure that I'm eating warmer foods, both temperature wise and just the quality of the food. So in Ayurveda, they talk about, the warming and cooling foods. And um, so instead of my morning smoothies, the other day I made like a pumpkin coconut bone broth something. I just like kind of put it all together and it just felt so much better. I feel like my smoothies, though I love them, on cold days, my body's like, "What are you doing? Like, we just took a cold walk and now you're gonna put something cold in your belly," and it's just really hard to takes a lot of energy to warm up and to digest. So that all feels just much, much better. So root vegetables, warming foods. If you do eat meat, meat is incorporating meat just whenever, but um, yeah, those of the earth foods
Mhm.
feel really good.
Yeah, I love that note of using it to cook, with family or with friends or for roommates or whoever you're cooking for. You can have potlucks. You can do really, really beautiful things in community with the food and community with cooking. So I highly suggest using the longer, the more nighttime, the shorter
Mhm.
days to spend trying new recipes or cooking or being more in tune with your food. Can be really, really beautiful. So I think that's super, super good. I really love to use the wintertime or the fall time to declutter and do a life edit. My life edit program, not to like plug, but was born during December timeframe when I found myself with more time, slower times at work, and this desire to really set myself up for success in January in a way that was really just not being proactive to goals where I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna, do all these things," but was like, "How can I set myself up foundationally by doing these really beautiful things in my home and in my life that I'm not planning for anything, I'm really just following along with my intuition." And now the life edit that creates the space for beauty in the new year or creates the space for beauty in my life, or more of me in my life. So I really like to declutter, organize the room, donate clothes, donate additional goods, check out your medicine cabinet. A lot of times we have expired medicines, we have expired supplements that exist in our cabinets, clean out the junk drawer. With more time in the evening because it's getting dark, it's a really beautiful time to just kind of go through the whole house and declutter and just kind of set yourself self up to feel good for the new year.
Yeah. I mean, it's so key. I feel like over the course of a year, we accumulate so much, both energetically and stuff. So it's just so good to take time to clear. Um, Another practice I love is like really giving ourselves permission to like indulge in things that perhaps in other seasons we haven't made time for. So maybe that's like in the winter season, reading all the books that you've been meaning to read, or maybe even watching like some of the classic movies that you've never watched, but you've always wanted to watch. Like just really indulging in things that maybe you've put off because you've been in such a race the rest of the year, but just really allowing yourself to be entertained, to learn, to rest. And yeah, I find that I don't give myself that permission to do those things as much in other months. So winter can be a time um, for that.
Yeah, I love that. Catching up on. I love to just watch The Notebook,
Mhm.
Clueless, The
Mhm.
Truman Show, my classics. Um,
Classics.
I really love in the wintertime or just around more so like a holiday thing, whether it's Thanksgiving or if you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah, just allowing it to just provide you with a good mirror for where you're at, spiritually, emotionally, in a self growth way when you're around your family or when you're around more stressful times, these really busy periods, these kind of hectic periods that hold a lot of emotional weight or hold a lot of time with family and friends. A lot of things can come up, whether it's around your body, whether it's around your mental health, your relationship. So, how can you use this as just note taking, for potential opportunities for you to use in therapy in the new year or use with journaling or whatever your self care or personal growth journey is? How can it be a really good mirror for you? I know for me
Mhm.
with family, it's like, okay, taking note. I'm triggered when they're saying this, or I'm triggered when they're doing this, or I'm noticing myself really uncomfortable when I'm in this sort of situation. Not using it as an opportunity to hate yourself more or judge yourself more, but how can you use it as an opportunity to work with yourself and just really have more kindness to yourself during these stressful times?
Yeah. Yeah, our family and our friends can be like our greatest those closer relationships can be our greatest teachers. You don't always have to tell them that they're your teacher, but they truly are.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, such a good one. Um, Another more tactical practice if you are in a colder climate is to find heat. So whether that's a sauna, a wet or dry sauna, or we love and connected to today's episode with the founders of HigherDOSE, we love the infrared sauna blanket. It is such a game changer, especially for people who don't have access to a sauna. Um, yeah, just really important that we are warming our bodies. I feel like, especially those in colder climates during those months, like I feel my body is so tense because I'm like shivering going from place to place. It's really hard for me to feel like my body is fully relaxed. And the sauna blanket has been such a huge part of just like making sure that my body feels nice and soft, relaxed. I'm not like building up tension and having to get massages and all of that all the time.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, even if this episode wasn't with them, I would say and
Yeah.
talk about the sauna blanket, and I'd talk about the PEMF mat, which I
Mhm.
love. The PEMF mat I use almost every night to
Totally.
help me get into a really, really calm state, and it really helps connect my body and mind. So, PEMF stands for pulsed electromagnetic field, and it's a type of therapy that uses technology to help provide pulses that can mimic the same sort of electromagnetic frequency of the earth. So essentially, when your body is in a state of fight or flight or stress or anxiety, it's upregulated. So, how can you use the PEMF mat to regulate your body to a more relaxed state, essentially aligning to the same frequency of the earth? And it's warming as well. It has like 25 pounds of these amethyst crystals and then these black tourmaline crystals, which are really, really nice. So it's got that like spiritual component, but I find that to be so calming and grounding and just really, really nice to get warm. So I'll use that and then I'll use the sauna blanket in the mornings, like when I'm up in the morning and it might be a little early and I don't really want to do anything. I'm like, I don't want to get on my phone. I don't really want to read. I just kind of
Mhm.
wanna relax still. I'm still sort of in a tired state, and so I'll get in my sauna blanket and just relax and be and sometimes I'll get in my sauna blanket if I wanna watch TV. I'll chill in my sauna
Mhm.
blanket and, like, watch TV and sort of multitask. I know all the people with kids are like, "Shut the fuck up,"
I
because
I
I'm like,
see some of
those
my friends.
mornings when you're like, "I don't really wanna, like, do this. I don't really wanna do that." I'm like, "I just have all this time in the morning to
I
be
have
in my sauna blanket."
some friends with kids who do it during their kids' nap, though.
There you go.
So you're in your sauna blanket, and also it's great for people who don't have time to maybe do a workout. I'm not saying it's
Yes.
replacing it, but you're sweating.
Mhm.
Like,
I
you're
think it
heating
does
up the
burn around
body.
500 calories
Yeah,
per use.
it's awesome. So, highly, highly recommend. And yeah, the PEMF mat, like, I need to go to bed. For me, it puts me in such a relaxed state that, like,
Yes.
I need
Same.
to sleep, like, right after, so it's perfect for right before bed.
And what my favorite thing about them is that your animals love them. My
I
cats,
know.
the babies, they use them all the time. We are running the PEMF mat almost all hours of the day because it's warming. It has those crystals. And for, my 2 babies, my kitties, or if you have dogs, whatever your animal is, if you have a gerbil. We live in a pretty high stress area. We're in the city in Los Angeles, and our streets are really busy, and there's a lot of noise, and there's a lot of lights. It's not the most peaceful environment, unfortunately. And so I feel really good that they have even the opportunity to relax and just to ground because their little paws have never touched grass, my babies, because
Oh
they've been
my
apartment
gosh.
kitties. So letting them to relax in a warm place, whether it's on the sauna blanket or the PEMF mat, is one of my favorite things, especially in the winter months. So
Yeah.
I love both of those. And I think using temperatures from whether it's, cold in the summer or hot in the winter is just such an age-old practice. However, you're going to do it. If it's in a sauna, if it's in a sauna blanket, if it's with a PEMF mat, or if it's just finding ways to sweat in hot yoga, are
Mhm.
really, really powerful. So, how can you use that to relax your nervous system, to ground, to detox, to connect with your body in like a new way is really nice.
Yeah.
So with the PEMF mat and then also the infrared mat, they're really helpful for stress, for energy, for sleep, for circulation, for muscle recovery. And it's one of the biohacking tools that you'll hear a lot about in the health and wellness space, whether it's hot therapy with saunas with the sauna blanket, or whether it's things like the PEMF mat are really, really powerful. And I was talking a lot with the girls from Higher Dose, the two founders, about a lot of their products that I was using at my darkness retreat. So I cannot even tell you how important it was for me to have their serotonin soak with me at my darkness retreat. So I did a darkness retreat, which was 3 days, 4 nights in complete darkness in the middle of nowhere in Oregon. I have 2 episodes coming out about that in the next 2 weeks. But I brought some of their products with me in the dark, which was really, really helpful. And one of those was the serotonin salt soak. And it was I can't tell you. Well, first of all, the bath in there, can't see anything, but having a hot bath, when you're in this sort of, discombobulated state was so powerful, but,
Mm.
the magnesium that they have and was so helpful for me in helping with my mood and recalibrating my system and really resetting my nervous system and keeping me regular. It was like I could take the bath and then sort of float into a sleep state that I don't know if I could have accessed before because I was so stressed or anxious or sort of, my mind was going out of control. So their serotonin soak is top freaking notch. It has like peppermint oil. It's amazing. And then I also brought their chill chews, and their chill chews are sugar-free, they're incredible. They, have L-theanine, which was really, really helpful for me in sort of calming down the mind, and then it had magnesium as well, and magnesium is something that a lot of people are deficient in. It's my number 1 favorite thing to recommend to people is just taking more magnesium to support yourself, to support your nervous system, to support your digestion. Whether it's taking, a supplement or whether it's taking a vitamin or a spray, magnesium has been something that's so incredibly helpful for me. So their magnesium products during my darkness retreat saved me.
Yeah. I just used the soak the other day and it was you know when it's good when, like, afterwards you literally are, like,
Dude,
in a
floating.
deep, deep coma. It was, yeah, so helpful just to relax the muscles and the mind, and I also was using their, copper body brush the other day for some,
Yeah.
yeah, circulation, just assistance, so helpful. So, basically, you can turn your home into a spa with higher dose products. They're
100%. And it's cool
literally
to
the
have like a
best.
female biohacking component, but one of the
Mhm.
times when I did a serotonin soak, I was like, because in the dark, you don't know what time it is. It's like no hours of the day are clear. You have no idea what's sort of going on. So I, at one point, was like, all right, I'm going to take a bath. I think it's 8 PM. I'm gonna get in a hot bath, and I put in the serotonin soak, and then I got out, and I was able to get into bed and I was able to fall asleep, which was really, really nice. The person running the retreat came to check on me. He's like, "Hey, Krista, like, how are you doing?" And I was like, "Hey, can" I'm like, "I'm gonna try and speak my needs more. I wanna be more clear and tell him I'm a little annoyed that he came to talk to me so late. I'm sleeping already." So I was like, "Hey, just if you could not come so late, I'd really appreciate it. Like, it's already probably really late." And he's like, "It's, 4:30 PM. So I can come earlier if you want." But I'm like, "Oh, fuck." I thought it was like 9 PM. I was like,
No way.
"Oh my god, 4:30 PM, and I'm already tucked into bed,
How
ready
wild.
for my serotonin soak." I know. It was crazy.
Wow. Wow, wow,
He
wow.
said I
Yeah.
was one of his favorite people he had at the retreat because of how honest I was. I was letting it rip. I was just saying all of the things, but the serotonin soak
Best.
put me in a nice little daze.
Mhm. Um, just in case we didn't mention it in this actual episode, we have a discount code for you all. So if you did want to check out Higher
Yes.
Dose, you can use the code almost 30 for 15% off site wide at higherdose.com. And again, some of our favorites are the infrared sauna blanket, the PEMF mat, the serotonin salt soak. I also, sorry, I have to plug the red light mask. I've been using it every morning. It's actually so dope. You see it, in like spas, people getting facials with red light mask and things like that. You can do this at home and it's affordable and again, another piece of your at-home
My
spa.
number 1 skincare.
Yeah,
thing.
it's
And
amazing.
everyone's like, "Your skin's so amazing." Oh, I'm like, "Oh, I know." But I swear it's the red light. The
Unreal.
red light is so I think this is good for a gift. We're gonna get one of these for someone on
Mhm.
our team who is probably listening, but I think that getting the red light mask is such a really beautiful gift, and there's really cheaply made ones that you can get other places, but getting a really high quality, one from Higher Dose is, like, the spot.
Yes. Again, so the code is almost 30 higherdose.com. I'm excited for this episode.
Yeah, so this one is with Lauren and Katie. They're the co-founders of Higher Dose. They're two female biohackers, and they are passionate about inviting more people into the biohacking, health, and wellness world, and really supporting people, mostly women, on reimagining tools for their bodies to help you reconnect with your intuition and elevate into your highest state. Higher Dose is about harnessing the power of the happiness chemicals within your brain and doing it through these biohacking tools. So there are so many conversations about biohacking and how we can support ourselves in living more closely aligned with nature and more closely aligned to the cycles of the earth and the moon and all of that aren't really possible when you're living in a city or where you're living far away from the middle of nowhere or a farm. And so a lot of the higher dose tools support you in living optimally. And I really, really love their branding. I loved our conversation. And I think that they're a really great place to see as a one stop shop for all of your wellness products and tech.
Yes. So enjoy this one. If you love it, make sure to share it with a friend. We really appreciate when you share our episodes with people that you love. And if you are wanting like a daily dose of almost 30 goodness, make sure you're subscribed to Morning Microdose, which is our new podcast. It comes out daily, Monday through Friday. And our intention with Morning Microdose is really to enhance your morning experience rather than hopping on your phone and scrolling and just kind of getting into the day right away. Being able to ground with a short 5, 10, max 15-minute message from the archives of almost 30. So many of you have been loving it. So we really appreciate your support. So you can subscribe everywhere you listen to podcasts.
Love it. Almost30.com, almost 30 podcast on TikTok and Instagram. And then again, it's higher dose. It's higherdose.com. It's HIGHERDOSE.com. And you can use code almost 30 for 15% off. Highly recommend the mask, the serotonin soak, the PEMF mat, and the sauna blanket. And thank you so much to Lauren and Katie, who are incredible. They have a great show on their Instagram, and it's a podcast as well that they call it Biohacker, and it's Biohack Her. And it's really cool because they do a lot of different practices in the biohacking space. So they're like little explorers. In this conversation, we talk a lot about sauna therapy. We talk about female founders. We talk about biohacking, their favorite wellness practices. And so this is a really beautiful health and wellness focused episode, which I know you guys love. So enjoy, and we will see you on the next one.
Bye. The holidays are right around the corner. And I know you're like, oh, God, I still have people on my list I need to get something for. So let me help you out. This is a gift great for anybody. A canvas print or any print on metal, on glass, on a blanket, on a pillow from canvasprints.com. It is incredible quality over there, affordable prices, and so easy to create. You just upload your image, choose your canvas size or whatever you're printing on, and then you check out. You can even add like a floating frame to your canvas. It's beautiful. A friend of mine got me a canvas print from canvasprints.com. I absolutely love it. It's stunning. Came out so freaking well. You can also make pillows, mugs, puzzles, coasters, ornaments, hoodies, acrylic blocks, like endless options. And canvas prices start at just $10.84 for an 8x8 print, and mugs are only $11.99. So it's affordable. Head on over. Intuitive, easy to use interface, and quality. We love quality. So for our listeners, I'm really excited for you right now. Canvasprints.com is a special offer just for you. Go to canvasprints.com and use the code almost30 to get 25% off your entire order of canvas prints, canvas wall displays, metal prints, photo tiles, photo blankets, and pillows, and so much more. Find the perfect holiday gift for everyone on your list and save with this amazing offer. This is really baller, 25% off your entire order when you go to canvasprints.com and use the promo code almost30. My hair is growing like a weed, an absolute weed. I'm loving it. I'm going to grow it for a while. I just feel in the mood. And what's been helping so much is the growth complex from Hair Love. You've heard us talk about Hair Love. It is an incredible brand that is really helping you to have the healthiest hair possible. Not only looks good, but truly is healthy hair. So the Growth Complex is their flagship daily vitamin formulated with only 8 of the highest quality, most bioavailable, science-backed ingredients to grow longer, healthier, thicker hair in only 2 capsules a day. Normally there's like supplements I've taken in the past with like a million capsules. And I'm like, oh my, I can't do this every day. Only 2 capsules a day. The superstar ingredient is cyanidine HNS, which is the most bioavailable form of keratin and is clinically proven to reduce shedding and extend the amount of time your hair stays in the growth phase and reduces the amount of time it spends in the shedding phase. How freaking phenomenal. They've done their research. This is backed by science over there at Hair Love. And I just love all of their products. You're going to have fun checking them out. I actually recently got their silk pillowcase because I was noticing that my hair was just like so dry and gross after sleeping. I was like, what the heck is up? So this silk pillowcase is not only good for my skin, but it's great for my hair too. So check out their other products. Again, the Growth Complex is what I am taking and it's working like a dream. Go to hairlove.com. You're going to use the code almost30 for 20% off all non-subscription items. Oh my God, I'm excited for you because this has not happened. 20% off is a huge discount. Head on over to hairlove.com. Use the code almost30 for 20% off all non-subscription items.
I'm so glad to have you guys here. It feels like such a long time coming. I'm such a fan. I've been using the sauna blanket for years. My PEMF mat, I use almost every night before bed. My cats use it all the time. And I just got out of a darkness retreat where the serotonin soak, the detox water drops, the hydration, and the gummies were everything.
Amazing.
It was crazy, the serotonin soak.
Isn't it so good?
It was, I mean, so there were moments where I would have, things would come up, anxiety, and I would take a bath with it,
Mhm.
and it completely altered my state. Like
Aw,
I
that's
would
so good to
feel like
hear.
I was floating and I could relax in a way that, I never could. So I'm really excited to have you. I want to dig into all of those things and sort of what they do. But first, I want to start a little bit about the company because it was fascinating when I was reading the back of my serotonin soak when I got out of the bath because I'm like, what is this doing to me? And it really explained higher dose and like what that is. And I felt like it was so fascinating because it explains the company so well. So, what is the meaning of higher dose? And what is the concept behind getting high naturally?
Who
Kick it
wants to
off.
answer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly,
We're
this is
probably gonna
yes,
do that a lot and just like look
perfect.
at each other and decide who's gonna
Psychically
answer.
into it. Yep.
Yeah. So DOSE stands for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, and those are your 4 main happy chemicals. So getting high naturally just stands for the idea of like how do you release these happy chemicals to ultimately make you feel good? And who doesn't want to feel good, right? And when we looked into a lot of like these wellness technologies in our saunas, that was one thread amongst all of them is that we're guaranteed going to make you feel better. Everyone has like a different healing response to them in different ways, depending on their goals and what they're working on. But the thread was always doesn't matter how stressed you are, how much anxiety you had, how tired you were, you would literally go into the sauna or the sauna blanket and come out like reborn and a new person. And we really felt like no one was really owning that in terms of wellness companies. Like they're a little bit more like crunchy granola and we really wanted to talk about like the brain chemicals, like what happens to you, not only physically but mentally. And that's where really Higher Dose was born. And it's really cool because we never really thought about being more than a sauna company when we first started it, but it's really given us permission to go into all aspects of feeling good.
Mhm.
And the idea of longevity and biohacking, which we're very passionate about, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit later. But yeah, the brand is just so much more than saunaing.
Mhm.
and sauna blanket. It's, like,
Yeah.
all about feeling and looking your best, so
Yeah, it feels like it was interesting. I was thinking about you guys too, because you're some of the only women that are spearheading the biohacking space.
yes.
I feel
Mhm.
like it's such a male dominated
Super male
space.
dominated,
It's
yeah.
like doesn't feel
Gentle?
gentle
Yeah.
or
Well, we're the original biohackers, so we just never called ourselves that, and I think the word, like, hack is kind of a turnoff to women because it's like, you have to think about it more in terms of, like, lifestyle. It's not a hack, it's not a moment in time. It's, like, literally, like, how you're gonna live your lifestyle. So, I think Katie and I try to, like, change the name of, like, biohacking 1,000 times. We're like, "What could we call it that would be, like, super impactful, that would speak to more
yes.
people?" And we could never think of anything because it's
Mhm.
just, like, so hard to, like, try to bring in everything that's in the biohacking community and, like, call it something else. I mean, there's longevity. We thought about, like, holistic recovery at one point, but biohacking is really a great, like, name for this community and culture that we're totally obsessed with, that we learn so much from, and really where we find a lot of our wellness technologies and our products within. And we just really thought there was an opportunity to really, like, speak about it from the female perspective, from the female lens, and introduce it to women and to men, who have never heard of it before, and show them, like, what's in it because it's just so cool because it's really about optimization. So, like, the idea of, you're healthy, you know, how do you become healthier? How do you perform better? How do you recover faster? How do you get happier? Health and wellness has always been something that's thought of like, oh, once you're sick, then you start working on your health. Well, this is like not. This is a movement on like, how are you going to optimize and feel better now? And you're seeing that this has become somewhat of a trend where now everyone's into health and wellness. I mean, we were talking before just about like all the retreats and what we can do to better ourselves and get more connected to who we are, stop being such like consumers
Mhm.
and just like feel good, right? That's what we all just want. We just all want to feel good. So the brand is really awesome and we're having so much fun in it. And especially like experimenting in the biohacking world where we get to try all these like wacky health things. The reason why we started it is like, how do we get all these like crazy health things for free? That's how it started. Like stem cell therapy and
I
things
know
that
I
you can
thought
never.
about I wanted to talk about that. You guys have done so much with the biohackers,
Mhm.
and it's like biohackers. It's like the vaginal rejuvenation, you guys stem cell
Mhm.
therapy,
Ketamine therapy,
ketamine
hot and cold
therapy.
therapy,
Water fasting,
psychedelic breath
Yes.
work.
combo frog poison.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
What has been some of the most impactful and some of the most like,
I mean, I think the water fasting was very impactful because it's so effective.
Mhm.
And I like the fact that it's accessible to everybody. I think that's a big critique of the wellness
Mhm.
space in biohacking. Is this only for rich people with a lot of free time? But no, literally anyone can water fast and you'll actually save money water fasting. And it create something called autophagy where you clean out like the dead cells in your body and you literally become renewed. And we had the opportunity to do that episode with Dr. Mindy, who's one of the leading water fasting experts. And just if you spend like 30 seconds with her, you're like, oh
Oh
my
my
gosh,
god,
I want
she's
to
so
have what she's
magnetic.
having.
Yeah,
Her
Mhm.
energy is incredible. You can just tell she's high on her own supply.
yeah.
She's very inspiring. And yeah, I continue to just follow her and try and do, experiment with different types of fasts. Maybe not always water fasts, but experimenting with like keto and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think that episode was one of the most impactful for me.
Really?
It was so funny because Katie just threw up the whole entire time,
What, when you were fasting?
which was this weird kind of
That's
like reaction that we were like
fascinating.
calling Dr. Mindy, like, "Is this normal?"
Whoa.
Because like literally, so we actually filmed another episode, which we shouldn't have done, of biohackers on day 2 of fasting. And by the time that we got there, Katie did film the show. And as soon as they hit like, okay, you're done, cut, wrap, Katie was like, like projectile
Beeline.
vomit.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And then we got into the car to drive home and we had to stop every 2 minutes as she just threw up every like moment all the way back to Malibu. And she was pretty messed up for like a good, what, 3 hours?
At least. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
And she still loved it.
It
Isn't that
was because I just felt totally renewed.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like I threw up the devil or something. I
Yeah.
felt like
Mhm.
a new person afterwards. But the lesson there is prepare a little bit before you do
Mhm.
a water fast.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because 'Cause I'd been on, like, a family vacation with my nieces and nephews in the Midwest and eating Lucky Charms for breakfast and all kinds of crazy stuff. So, don't do that before your water fast.
Yeah.
And then combo, how is combo? Because that's
Combo?
a clearing too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
it's a purging
I've done
medicine.
combo once before filming that episode, so I was like, "Oh, fuck, I don't wanna do this."
Yeah, man,
Like, I
I'm
was
good
saying to
on all
Katie,
that.
like, "This is so annoying that we have to do combo." And then Biohacker Todd came and he, like, was the most, like, knowledgeable, rooted in science kind of person explaining how you release peptides in the body and, like, he was just so informative and so cool. So I was like, "Okay, we'll do this." And then we did the ceremony in front of everyone, it's just super vulnerable. I never puked the first time I did it, so I don't think I got the full effects, whereas this time we were, like, violently ill in front of the camera, which I love the camera, I really do, like, I literally don't even notice that it's there, I love being super vulnerable in front of it, but when you do combo, what happens is your, like, face and head fills up with blood, so you swell up like a frog. And if you, like, have any filler in your face, like, forget about it. You look, like,
Yeah.
insanely crazy, but it's like you look like a frog. So our eyes are, like, swelling out of our head, and our head's, like, throbbing, and then you purge, and it's like the deepest throw up you've ever had in your life. You feel so sick until he's like, "Okay, 20 minutes is up because that's the time to get the peptides." And then he, like, wipes it off, and then it, like, just goes down, and then afterwards, like, Katie and I just, like, laid like stray cats on a mattress that was in the street, like, we didn't move for, like, a good hour, we just laid there, and they kinda just, like, filmed us, and we felt so amazing afterwards, so connected. We actually filmed another episode of Biohackers the next day, and I was like an open book, like, just ready to go, like, take anything, like, so vulnerable, so honest with, like, who I was, so connected. So it was, like, beyond that, and no one's really ever explained combo to me in that way,
Mhm.
so it was an amazing experience.
And I think the high lasted for weeks after. Something about, like, this release of peptides that happens when you get the frog poison, it heightens your senses and you have more energy and, like Lauren said, you feel open. So, that was pretty amazing too. I would
Mhm.
definitely do it again.
But I think when it comes to any sort of, like, healing like that, it really depends, like, practitioner to practitioner and healer to healer and shaman to shaman. Not all of this is created equally, so that's, like, my only guide to anyone that's, like, looking to get into, like, plant medicine or, like, combo, is just, like, make sure you're doing it with the right person, with the right stuff, with the right energy, with the right intentions, because they can really vary
Mhm.
from
That's
experience to
huge.
experience,
That's what's
yeah.
hard about talking about stuff like that. You're like, gotta even when I like darkness or anything I've done, I'm like, I don't this isn't one size fits all
No.
because
Mm.
it's not no one will have the same experience. Like,
Even with darkness where you're
yeah.
in a hole for 3 days,
Yeah. I'm
you
like,
have to set the intentions
yeah,
before
I
and
don't
the
think it's for
space.
many people. And even psilocybin or ayahuasca or that kind of stuff, it's like you have to be very careful and have
Well,
the right
what
intention. I want to talk more about the biohacker, but I want to talk about your stories because to be people that do these things and are that interested in health and wellness, did you have journeys with your body or your health and wellness that brought you to this place where you are explorers and you are people that are interested in this?
most definitely.
Yeah.
So I used to model for
Mhm.
15 years before. Was on every single fad diet you could name, like
What was your favorite?
coffee and cigarettes, of
Oh,
course.
yeah. Special K was, like, one of my favorites. I'm like, granola and cereal all day?
Right?
Yes.
I remember, like, salad for
Oh,
lunch,
yeah.
maybe with tuna.
Mhm,
But there was many, there's also, like, the stimulant one with, like, a
mhm,
Adderall and
mhm,
moments of, like, could I just take bumps of cocaine here or
mhm,
there to stay skinny?
mhm,
It's pretty mind fucking, like, modeling. And I don't feel like it is today where I feel like there's so much more support and guidance for models and just more inclusivity, whereas, like, back then, it was, like, none and it was harsh and, like, this was before Me Too, right? So, like, everyone was having those moments where you're, like, literally, like, abused. So that was, like, really hard and just, like, brought out such darkness within me. And I remember when I moved to New York, I was interviewed to be on a show called Woman versus Workout, and it was, like, finally where I could have a voice, and it was all about me being, like, fit and extreme versus, like, skinny, and, like, a fashion model, so, like, I really shined because I'm, like, such a tomboy, like, love working out and just being strong, and I love, like, being powerful, and I love being vulnerable and all of that, so that show was really amazing to film, and I got to do things like Navy SEAL training and NASCAR driving and motocross and firefighter training. It was just, like, such a fun show that was, like, way ahead of its time, but I really realized that I knew nothing about nutrition, and that was, like, such a big part of it. So that's when I went to IIN, the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, which I feel like so many great health and wellness entrepreneurs went there. And I learned about all sorts of diets and philosophies, and that's when I, like, really took my extreme way of living and applied it to, like, health and wellness and kinda went orthorexic with it,
Mhm.
where,
As you
like
do.
as you do. It's like this desire to, like, numb
Mhm.
yourself with something. I don't even know what it is. It's, like, such a weird thing.
Control thing,
Yeah, like, I really
just
felt like we're not really, like, set up to, like, learn how to process our feelings and emotions. We're not taught those tools. They take a long time to, like, sort of figure out. So it was just another thing to, like, control and obsess over. But I really, like, was just so into it. Like, I would listen to my, like, modules on a run and get so high from, like, listening to people talk about health and wellness. I just, like, loved it. And that was, like, the first time I really, like, came to life and, like, just knew that that was my path. And then when I started working with models, that was, like, my first clientele was, like, young models teaching them how to eat and take care of themselves and just be mindful. I really knew that, like, I was more of an entrepreneur at heart and really, like, wanted to work more one-on-one with people. And then I started working for a health and wellness startup, and it just kept carrying on, and I think it was just my desire to, like, wanna learn and grow within the health and wellness space that I knew that, like, I never felt like I was working when I was doing that, so
Mhm.
mhm.
And you also got your breast implants out in your journey, right,
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
recently. What was that experience?
Oh, man. So I think it started more when I had a seizure a year after I had my kids. I had, like, a grand mal seizure out of nowhere. And then 6 months later, my son had a seizure in front of me, and it just, like, really highlighted that I'm, like, full of fear. Like, fear guides me in life, like, I'm just that person, like so it was a really interesting moment that just really made me think, like, "Am I dying? Like, what's making me sick?" Like, just I really need to get to the bottom of, like, how I could even have a seizure, like, what's wrong with me? Like, I'm supposed to be this, like, healthy person, and so it was, like, a really weird time in my life. And I met a friend that had hers taken out, and she introduced me to this, like, community on Facebook of, like, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of women talking about how breast implants make you sick, and here's the list of ingredients that's in them: formaldehyde, heavy metals, blah, 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 blah. Like, do you have skin issues? Do you have anxiety? Do you have it's like, check, 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 check. It's just, like, crazy. So I didn't really have to do much research to just really know in tune that these breast implants weren't serving me anymore. They aren't a part of my healthy lifestyle. Like, I need to get them out immediately. And that's exactly what I did. And then from that moment on, like, I remember when I first got them out, it could have either been the drugs or just the feeling of having my breast
Mhm.
implants taken out. But I remember, like, taking a nap and there was, like, friends in the other room, and I felt like I had, like, a block underneath my back to, like, open my chest. I felt like it was in a heart
Mhm.
opener when I was, like, napping. So that could have been the drugs, that could have been more
Mhm.
just that my body was like, "Ah." It's wild how different you feel when it
Did you
get
go to
taken
the
out.
the woman in Ohio?
So I actually went to the same guy that got, put them in.
Wow, okay.
So he's amazing. His name's Doctor Tren.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Doctor Tren, Doctor Stephen Ip.
Mhm.
And I saw this girl, Beck Donnellan, also post her explant journey, and she used him, and he's amazing. He, like, does full M blocks. He's, like, super, by the books on, like, how to do it properly, but mainly he was a really good surgeon, and I really did want my boobs to look nice afterwards. I had, like, a full lift, and
Mhm.
that was important to me as well. So I just went back to him, and I love him. He's amazing. I mean, he still does as many breast augmentations as he does taking them out, which is kind of weird to me,
Mhm.
but, you
Yeah.
know?
As
That's
long as
fine.
it's
He's a
someone.
great
Recurring revenue model. I know. Sorry.
Literally.
yeah, that's
He's
the
like, "I'm
best.
here when you're ready for 'em out." He's like, "Asses are in. Now you guys want 'em out."
Yeah, I mean, he's a plastic surgeon, right? So it's like
100%.
I think there's really still not a lot of science and research
Mhm.
behind, like, breast implant illness, rightfully so. Who's gonna, like, put dollars behind that? Like, women are already left out of science and research as
Mhm.
is, like, who's gonna do that?
What was like getting to know your body again? Because it's a whole new experience being in a body without foreign objects and without breasts in that way.
I was on the other end of it where,
Yeah.
like, I felt liberated. I finally, like, loved my body.
Wow.
I was like, "This is, like, my sporty,
Mhm.
like, healthy body that I've always knew was mine." I never liked my breast implants. Like, soon as I got them, I was embarrassed of them. I lied about them. I didn't tell anyone I had breast implants, and, I had this weird journey. Not only do I think they were making me physically ill, but I think mentally as well, just because it's, like, pretty much, like, fed my ego and insecurities. So
Mhm.
I had a different journey with my breast implants. Some women get them and they're like, "I love them. They're
Mhm.
fake and they're fabulous," and, that's great for them. And then there's also women too that have had breast cancer and then they get them and they also feel confident and sexy. And sometimes I wonder how much of it was actually mental for me, you know?
Mhm.
Um, but I just felt so good within my body. I finally could wear like a shirt without, needing like a heavy duty bra. And I just felt so confident. Like I said, I felt like I was just like in an heart opening position. So
That's
I, it
beautiful.
was really amazing for me.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And what was your journey, babe?
Well, let's see. I started my career in investment banking
Mhm.
in New York. Um,
Super healthy
right.
environment,
As you can
so
imagine, and
easy 9 to 5.
I basically I grew up in Columbus, Ohio. I grew up in Columbus,
Grew up
Ohio
in
too.
Cincinnati.
So obviously that's not like an investment banking type
Mhm.
environment, and I went to school in DC at Georgetown and then afterwards, was in New York and this like wild like Wolf of Wall Street, like talk about like male dominated energy partying. Like sometimes I just wouldn't even like go home at night. I would
Mhm.
literally stay out all night, buy a new outfit at Banana Republic, go back into the
It's like a
office.
frat.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was not the healthiest environment, and I got to a certain point where I was just like, "Okay, this is not sustainable, all this work hard, play hard, partying." So I looked for, something that was a healthier way to relieve stress than drinking, smoking, etcetera, and I found running, and I got really into running, started doing, 6 miles a day, and then,
I love that. I love that journey for everyone.
Yeah,
They're like, "I'm
exactly,
working all the
just
time, running all the time."
yes, I'd get out of the office at, like, 2 a.m. and, like,
Oh
go
my god.
run at the 24-hour gym, so, but it was, it was a lot healthier than going out
Mhm.
and partying, and then when, the recession hit in 2008, I really took a moment to be like, "Okay, I wanna lean into, just feeling good," and I took the time to train for a marathon, and I really got addicted to that natural high, and I just felt like I wanted my life to be more about doing things that just increased my energy and vibration, like the way that I felt after a great run. So that's when I really, decided to devote my life and career to wellness. I was one of the first employees at Tough Mudder, which was like the, mud run
Mhm.
obstacle course event. And then when I left, I met Lauren right at the perfect time, wanted to start a company in the wellness space. And when she introduced me to the infrared sauna, I found it was the only thing that really replicated that runner's high. And I felt like it was amazing because it was so accessible. You didn't have to put in any effort, and it had all these other incredible health benefits from boosting immunity to improving your skin to, just Lauren can go on and on about the benefits. I'm
Mhm.
sure she will in a minute here. So yeah, we just decided to go for it. And
That was 8 years ago?
that was 8 years ago.
How did you transition from being someone that was working all the time, running all the time, to starting your own business and seeing recovery as more of the way? Because the sauna is more of a recovery route than like a push route.
Yeah, I mean, I think again for me running ran its course, no
Yeah.
pun
Yeah.
intended. You also get to a point where you realize these long distances aren't sustainable.
So I wanted to experiment with other, holistic modalities that gave me that same elevated state,
Mm.
like colon hydrotherapy, acupuncture, stuff like that. And I think the sauna kind of fit in that category.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would love to talk about all of the things because I think our audience is always so curious about what I do, what people like you do as wellness experts. And the red light, we can start with the red light. Red light has been one of the most powerful things. I was actually, when I was in darkness, I was with Aaron Alexander and he has your little red light that he's obsessed with. He was
He had
like,
a red light face
oh,
mask?
yeah, uh-huh. He like brings it everywhere. He's like, this is my favorite thing. He brings it everywhere.
Oh my
He was talking
gosh.
about it, but for
Mm.
me, red light has been the number one thing for my skin
Yes.
ever.
Mhm.
Like,
And that's what most people know red light for is the
yes.
skin, anti-aging.
So what is happening with red light? If just for the audience listening, what are the benefits of using red light and what's happening with the skin in particular?
Yeah, I mean, to start off with the skin, that's always like the one thing that people see immediately afterwards. So I think that's always the most powerful. And I would say that like dermatologists and estheticians have been using red light therapy for a really long time. They just charge a lot of money to lay in their
Mhm.
red light beds and lay under a red light for like 10 minutes. But really, what it's doing is the red light is feeding your mitochondria so that your mitochondria is producing something called ATP. And ATP is just energy, which means that like every cell in your body is functioning better and more youthful. So that is kind of, I would say, the foundation of red light and how it ends up converting is through like if you're feeding the cells in your skin, much like I would say LED light therapy grow plants without
Mm.
sunlight. It's just doing the exact same thing in a plant form. It's just feeding ATP, energy, and then you can grow. It's doing the same thing for your skin. So you're feeding your skin through light therapy. And light therapy is probably going to be the next biggest thing I would say,
For
or
sure.
most household way of healing, I would
Mhm.
say in the next like generation to come.
Do you think tapping into like the different waves of light and the different bands of light and their benefits will be the next thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most people don't know that infrared
Mhm.
saunas are light therapy too, as well.
Mhm.
But some of the most profound things that Katie and I do is in light therapy.
Mhm.
And now moving into energy therapy too, which is also like
Mhm.
somewhat of a big one. But red light therapy is really awesome because it reduces fine lines and wrinkles, downs inflammation within the skin, increases blood flow and circulation, which is the opposite of stagnation, which is really good for aging. And then it does all sorts of really great things for your endocrine system, which is your hormonal system. So for women, it does things like balance hormones. For men, it does things like boost testosterone, which is huge.
Mhm.
And, you can use red light therapy in all different sorts of ways. You can, use it just for your face, but I always take my red light face mask and I put it on my thyroid. That's a really great way. You can put it on all sorts of areas of your body. And I always tell people this, but Katie always looks at me like I'm crazy. But, if men put it on their balls,
Mhm. That was in Ben Greenfield's book.
yeah.
His really thick book I have. I forget what it's called.
Boundless? That one?
Maybe.
Mhm.
And there's a whole it was crazy because it's so sciencey, then it's like, I got the hardest erections of my life
Mm.
by putting a red light on my dick, and you're like, "What?" was like, "Whoa." It felt, like, very personal, but yeah, it's crazy for testosterone.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that are joking about, like, perineum, like, tanning too, where you can, like,
Is that your
expose your
butthole?
I think it's the part between your butthole
Okay.
and, I
The
guess,
taint?
the balls?
Okay.
Do women have perineums?
We'll
I'm
have to
out of
look it
this
up.
I don't
one. I
Yeah.
don't
freaking
know.
know. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's like exposing that part of your genitals because actually you are supposed to be exposing yourself to light therapy.
Mhm.
So the sunlight for at least 20 minutes of the day in order to get all of the like healthy endocrine, balancing their circadian rhythm benefits of being exposed to red light,
Mm.
which is just sunshine, which we aren't anymore. And now we're exposed to the opposite, bad light, blue light, which is in our cell phones and our computers and our TVs, and it's like, even like women's thyroids in front of a computer all day long, and then you don't exercise and all the other things. And the next thing you know, you don't know why you have anxiety or you feel so disconnected from everything. And it's really because you're not healing from nature the way nature intended it to. So red light is more of like a hack. That's why the biohacking thing comes back in over and over again. Like if you're someone that lives in like Hawaii, even like Miami, and you go out for at least 20 minutes, in the first half of the day before like 1 o'clock and you expose your skin and your body to red light, or you wake up with the sun, coming up, or you go to bed with the sun going down, then you get all the benefits of red light therapy. Like, save your money. I don't think you need a red light face mask or a red light body unit. But it's more for the people that, live in urban environments and, we also work 9 to 5 and we don't wake up with the sun and go to bed with the moon anymore. So, it's, like, really ways to, like, hack yourself and your circadian rhythm to really, like, just tell the body to, like, calm down and relax. So, it's really this, like, amazing tool that really just is replicating nature and the way nature intended it to be so that your body feels, like, calm and protected and does what it's supposed to do. So it's an amazing tool,
Mhm.
and you do get all these amazing skin benefits from it too, and it also grows hair, and pretty much, again, it goes back to that idea of, like, feeding the mitochondria so that it produces ATP, which is energy, which means every cell in your body is functioning as it should,
Mhm.
if not better.
Yeah, my eyebrow game too from
Did you
being in
grow your
it.
eyebrows with
Yeah,
it?
oh
Oh,
my god,
amazing.
it's like
Which one are you using?
the mask I just got, so I've been using the mask, but, the little panel one I've been using, and then because in the mat, it's in there too, right?
Red light?
No.
No, that's PEMF, pulse electromagnetic
Yes, because
frequency,
that's
yeah.
what I wanna yeah, that's what I wanna talk about too, because that's been the craziest where I'm like, I can feel the energy of my body just completely resetting. So what's happening with PEMF?
Do you wanna take that one or you want me to?
Well, I always like basically just compare PEMF to taking a walk in nature
Mm,
and grounding. It's like, when you take a walk in the forest, you feel really good, you feel reset. It's because when you're exposed to the earth's core frequency, it's downing inflammation in your body. And that's basically what's happening with PEMF as well. It's a frequency that's similar to the earth's core frequency.
mhm,
So that's why when you lay on our mat or your cat does or whatever,
mhm.
you just instantly feel relaxed, reset. It's actually really good for any kind of like athletic injuries or back pain or that sort of thing as well.
And it is amethyst crystal and then black tourmaline?
Yeah, we actually layered, PEMF, with our infrared, mainly because, we love our sauna blanket for all you people. Let's just start with the sauna blanket
Mhm,
first, because I think this will be helpful for everyone. So initially, we started out with infrared spa locations, and we saw the transformation that would happen when people would go in our saunas. Like, oh my God, game changer, reborn. I'm addicted. I'm coming back tomorrow. Like, what the fuck just happened to me? So we wanted to pretty much like create something that we could bring up to pop-up events, and we couldn't lug around a 600-pound sauna. So we took rudimentary versions of sauna blankets that were already out in the market, and we used to like bring those to pop-up events, and people like loved the experience of just like laying there, being on their phone, like
mhm,
kind of having someone take care of them. So Katie and I were like, "Hey, this is like pretty interesting. People want to buy this from us." But there's so many things wrong with the rudimentary
mhm,
versions that were already on the market. Like, they had high EMF, they were toxic materials that would like stink and off gas. Like, the whole design of it didn't make sense. So we really saw the opportunity to really make them and the technology comparable to our saunas.
mhm,
Has to be low EMF, has to be low EMF. It needs to be non-VOC materials that pass California standards. We grounded our technology in our charcoal layer to make it feel grounding too as well, which makes it no ELF. We added amethyst and tourmaline in
mhm,
there because when you add those 2 stones, naturally they become infrared generators, which is what happens in nature. When you're in Arizona and you lay on like a stone that's been warmed up by the sun, that's just like natural infrared.
mhm,
So we're just like replicating that. And, you get like this amazing detoxifying sweat that makes you feel euphoric after. You literally burn calories while you just lay there.
mhm,
It's so good. And it's really the warmth of the heat that downs cortisol levels and put the body into fight or flight, sorry, parasympathetic, which is the opposite of fight or flight. So you get all these amazing benefits. But with our second product, we really knew we wanted to create something that had all of those calming, grounding, and healing benefits, but without the commitment of sweating. So that's where the infrared PEMF mat came. So we took the same infrared technology from our sauna blankets and we put that in the mat. And then we layered in other like technologies that contributed to our goal of this being the recovery mat. Amazing for like downing cortisol levels and putting your body into rest and digest and helping you sleep at night or dropping you into meditation, which is another big one.
Mhm.
So that was like really important to us. And then we also, instead of just doing some amethyst and tourmaline, we decided to do over 25 pounds of amethyst and tourmaline. So it
Wow.
felt even more like that hot stone in
Mhm.
nature than with the PEMF. And then it emits negative ions because of the stones. And really, it's just everybody's body
Mhm.
Mm.
really just resonates with it because that's like something that we all crave, like that heat, that groundingness, that warm hug, that thing that really just tells your body you're safe, you can relax, you know, like let go.
Mhm.
So it's super powerful. It's funny because we went to Heather's house, which is this healer, and she's like obsessed with our mat, and she doesn't even plug it in. She's like, this thing is a healing vortex. I don't even need to plug this thing in.
Mhm.
It's that powerful. And I know I don't wanna, like, sound, like, salesy. Don't take it
Mhm.
from me.
Mhm.
Try it.
It's the best. It's the best.
Like, it speaks for itself. Everyone in your
So
family is
good.
gonna love it. Your animal's gonna
The
love it. Your
babies love
husband's
it.
gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Like,
We
everyone
had,
freaking loves it.
a session with our healer, Kiki, so we work with this woman regularly, and, we work with this person regularly, and during one of the sessions, she was like, "Imagine you're laying on an amethyst mat." And I was, like, literally laying on the amethyst mat.
You're like, "I can do that."
I was, like, "All set, we're all good." But even for the animals, it's really nice to have because we live in the city and they don't have access to nature,
Yeah.
Mm.
it's really beautiful for them to have a space where they can relax and they can almost have their body reset and their cycles reset. So
Yeah.
I've loved that with both the sauna blanket for them to have warmth. You know, cats freaking love warmth, and then the PEMF mat for them to have a place to relax and sort of ground.
Yeah.
It's like been so special. It's weird because you wouldn't think about that as a something for animals or your family, but it really is beautiful.
Yeah, the animal's always the one finding that, like, sliver of
Yeah.
sunlight in the corner of your apartment, and they just,
Mhm.
like, lay in it and bask in it, and it's kind of just, like, replicating that for them.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's so intuitive, it's so primal for them, and it's the same for us too as well.
Yeah.
Like, heat's always been used to help us, like, calm down and relax. It means we're safe. It's
Mhm.
kind of, like, similar to, like, being around a fire at the end of the day, and, the fire kind of represents infrared, and then the just looking at that, like, red amber color is,
Mhm.
like, red light therapy too. It's just,
Mhm.
like, that way of primally communicating to your body, "You're safe, now you can heal and relax." And that's all we're doing. It's just a
Yep.
tool to get you there so that your body intuitively knows what to do to heal.
What was happening to me with my serotonin soak when I was just, like, floating?
Well, Katie's actually the best
It felt
namer
like
on the
a
planet, so I think
serotonin soak is a good
it's
name.
a really good
Top.
name.
I'm a one-trick pony. I just do the naming
Product
around
namer.
here.
So it's
Yeah.
magnesium, apple cider vinegar,
Yes.
algae.
Yes, so there's 2 different types of algae
Yeah.
in there that are
Why?
amazing for your skin.
Okay.
They have, they're full of rich minerals, which is really
Mm.
important. I mean, ultimately, the concept with the serotonin soak was like, how do we replicate the healing benefits of the sea or the Dead Sea, right? When you go into like the seats, you see your skin look amazing afterwards. You feel so calm and relaxed. You sleep so well. Why is that?
Mhm.
So, we're really, it comes down to the magnesium and the minerals that are in salt water, which is where our magnesium zestine comes from, is the zestine sea. And it's the purest form of magnesium. It's not created in a factory. It's pure form of magnesium, which is why it's so powerful and works so quickly and so deeply on the body. And then we wanted to bring in those like algae that are even more rich in minerals, and that makes it really good for the skin. And then French clay, which is also somewhat detoxifying, and it's really good at purifying the skin. And then we added apple cider vinegar too as well because that's really good for the pH of the skin. It's antimicrobial, antibacterial. And then we also added just really nice essential oils in there.
The
Like, we're really
peppermint
against
was nice.
fragrances.
Mhm.
So it's pure essential oils,
Mhm.
that just make it, like, smell so good. Like, I have a friend that just puts them in a cup in his bathroom so that his bathroom smells so good. It's, like,
Yeah,
so
and it
funny.
was beautiful. It's like a
Yeah.
The
beautiful
actual flakes
mix.
themselves,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
I was, like, touching them in the dark. I'm like, "These are, like, beautiful pearls," and it was like there was little ball it was just it was beautiful. I'm like, "This is such a beautiful experience." Like, the beautiful branding, the beautiful smell. It was so nice.
Yeah. I mean, so we are really obsessed with magnesium. We
Yes, it's the
researched
best.
magnesium and really
You have a spray
realized
too that I love. The
the
topical
Get
spray.
Salty
Yeah,
spray? Yeah.
mhm.
So, just to back it up, like, the reason why we felt it was so important to launch a whole line of supplements and body care within magnesium is because, number 1, most Americans are deficient in magnesium, like, something like over 50% of North Americans are highly deficient in magnesium, and magnesium is responsible for over 300 functions within the body, and those functions include the main reason why people come to higher dose in the first place, which is, like, sleep, relaxation, detoxification, skin, mood, right? So if
Mhm.
you're deficient in it, you don't have it, no wonder why you're not reaching those goals. Plus, from a hormonal level, like, women as a baseline need to be taking magnesium. And then there's all different forms of magnesiums and different ways that you can take it, which is why our whole line has different forms. And it's also ones that you ingest and then ones that you do transdermally, which is topically, because you naturally absorb magnesium through the skin, hence going into the ocean or being like in a salty place, like just like salt in the air or in the mountains, and, like, we know that we're really needing that mineral, that salt for just even brain function, for connectivity. It holds current. So important. So that's why we launched a whole line of magnesium-based products. And then most people don't even know it's one of your main electrolytes too, which we have a product that makes you sweat like never before. You literally will sweat so much with our sauna blanket. So we also just like wanted to solve the problem of like dehydration because we also feel like that to solve that for North Americans too, just not being dehydrated is already gonna make you feel so much better, so
Yeah, I think most people don't know they're dehydrated though, because isn't there and this is what I believe is that there's the experience of drinking a lot of water, but it's not mineralized, so then people are dehydrated. Is that right?
yeah, and then we all are, like, sweat addicted, and we
Yeah,
all love coffee, and
yeah.
then you have a drink, and then you, like, yeah, you drink dead water, which we're learning a lot about water right now and
Mhm.
structured water and, making sure those, like, minerals are in the water and like, heaven forbid you're drinking, like, bottled water that's, like, in a plastic form with phytoestrogens. It's just, like, there's so many things that we need to we need to work on, and we appreciate you getting us some spring water from Erewhon and glass because like, we're also big glass components too as
Mhm.
well. It's just, like, with the phytoestrogens and plastic, but
So there's fight can you say a little bit more about that? Because people are gonna wanna know.
yeah, I think we really felt responsible at Higher Dose to make sure that we only offered glass always because everyone comes into our sauna and then like has a plastic water bottle and then it gets heated up and then there's already plastic in your water, but once you heat it, there's going to be even more plastic. So we really wanted to like push people drinking out of like glass and if you're going to spend so much time detoxing, just be try to be more mindful of what goes into your body too and we really love the sauna because you can't control all the toxins. There's toxins in air, in water and clothing and our pharmaceuticals and our like healthcare, our body care products. It's just almost inevitable, which is like why we love the sauna so much because you can focus on that like everyday detox to really like combat the toxic load. But specifically with plastic, there is something called phytoestrogens, which really mess with everyone's body because you don't want those, chemical formed estrogens in the body. We already have a lot of natural estrogens. So this like blocks your body up even more. And if there's one thing that you want to detox of, it's the plastics and the phytoestrogens and the chemicals that we put into our body through like our food sources and, day-to-day living.
Mhm, and water.
And water.
I know, it's such a bummer. I think about that because in the tub that I have, we don't have a filtration system set up.
Mhm.
So I'm like, "Oh, I can't take a bath
Mm.
because 'cause I'm just heating
Mm.
up toxic water."
Mhm.
And then it's turning into steam or vapor, and even with if I had a serotonin soak, it's like I would be like, wouldn't work. So when I was
There
in
are good water filters. There's, like,
Yes.
structured water filters too as
Yes.
well that you can get,
Yeah.
that are really good, but I think we also don't want people to be obsessed about it either, because like, that's that idea of going orthorexic where you, like, know so much that you can't help it but, like, be so fearful over everything, like,
Yes.
I remember, like, ordering things at the restaurant and, like, in a specific way to, like, ensure no gluten, and there would be, like, a crouton on my salad, and it would, like, set me off.
Mm.
That's not healthy either.
Mhm.
So, really, we're just really trying to provide technologies and products that really can just, like, help you. in your day-to-day life recover from life stressors.
Mhm. Yeah, I was thinking about that when just being in when I was away, I was like, wow, if you're living off grid, no Wi-Fi, all of this, well water, I'm like, you don't really need any of the tools.
I know.
And how we create these structures and lives that lead us to need the tools to sort of reground, reset, all of the things. But I want to talk about how mental health has impacted your journey. Because if we think about the wellness products and, all of the things that support us in being more beautiful or feeling more vital, what has been both of your mental health journey with everything? Like, how have these things supported your mental health? How has your fitness journey or your wellness journey turned into something that became supportive of your mental health?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was always mostly about mental health for me, like,
Mhm.
even with the running, the stress release, and the endorphins and euphoria I felt after, were really the purpose for me was to combat, like, the anxiety of having this, like, stressful office job and just living in this, like, modern society, right, where we're pulled in so many directions. And I think, yeah, going back to our name, the dose and higher dose stands for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, which are your four main happy chemicals. So it's this philosophy that you could really, in some ways, boil happiness down to doing things that maximize those happy chemicals. So I think as we've, continued to explore different wellness practices through biohackers, um, I think I always am kind of like filing away like this or that really made me feel mentally good and clear. Like even with the water fasting, when you do the water fasting, it releases GABA in your brain, which makes you feel super calm because your body thinks you're starving and you need to be calm and focused to be able to like go hunt and get food. So, yeah, I think that's always actually been a big theme for us is mental health in a way.
Mhm. And I feel like it's such a journey. Like I know what I know a lot, but that doesn't stop me from doing things that I know are not good for me sometimes,
Like what?
Stress about work, that's probably
Mhm.
number 1, stress about my kids, like, have fearful scenarios of them
I
just,
could
like
not even. I don't know.
having kids is a whole 'nother
I
thing.
don't
It's
even
like the
know.
ultimate
I
test.
have cats and I don't even know how to do it.
Exactly.
I
Like, you're
swear to
just,
God.
like, always just thinking about them feeling good and whatnot.
In the
Could you
darkness,
imagine?
I was like, "I'm so sorry. I'm not with you all the time." I was like,
It's
"Dude,
like
I don't
guilt.
know.
Yeah, yeah. That gets heightened by, like,
Can't."
100. So, there's so many more lessons to always learn as you do
Because
more in life,
your
and
heart
even
opens more to love.
definitely your heart explodes for
Yeah.
sure, but there's still some really, like, hard moments, and I just think that, like, even this last month, we had a really tough month, sales started to drop,
Mhm.
like, we hired the wrong person that hired the wrong agency, and, like, Katie and I
Mhm.
were just stressing, like,
Mhm.
freaking stressing and working crazy hours, and then I was, like, smoking organic tobacco because I was
Wow.
justifying the nicotine in it because I,
That's an
like, need
Austin
it.
vibe.
I
Peeps be
know.
doing that. They're like, "Do you" what's it called?
The nicotine?
Yeah,
Oh, your rapé?
yeah, yeah, they're like, "My morning rapé." I'm like, "You're smoking." Like I'm like, "You're
Pretty
smoking."
pretty much, like, there's all this in the biohacking world about, like,
Yes.
nicotine being a nootropic, and it
Yes.
truly frickin' is, like, you want a
Really
jolt in the day that's not coffee?
do a little nicotine. I remember when I do drugs, I was like, "Man, nicotine really pumps up the volume
Exactly, that's
of
why when we,
drugs."
like yeah, that's why when we start to, like, get drunk, we like to
Mhm.
have nicotine that kind of, like,
Mhm.
brings you back into your body and gives you this jolt, and it is a nootropic,
Yeah.
and, yeah, the biohackers are, like, doing nose sprays or the gums
Mhm.
or the lozenges or whatever it is, but, like, I love the ceremony of, like, rolling an organic tobacco cigarette.
Mhm.
I like smoking. That's, like,
Mhm.
my guilty
Hey,
pleasure.
what's your guilty pleasure?
Oh boy, what's my guilty pleasure?
I don't
I
know,
don't
it
know.
used to be alcohol, now it's not.
Yeah,
Katie stopped drinking alcohol and has, like, transformed her life,
Isn't it
so
the best?
yeah, I
It's the
did
best.
2 years of full sobriety.
Mhm.
And then yeah, I started like now and then having alcohol, but I don't really like it as much anymore,
Mhm.
And I think it's really nice to have that option because I think I got to a point where I was like feeling so disciplined that it was, like, getting counterproductive versus just being able to have a drink here and there if you want, just felt like a better balance to me. And I think it just got me so much more in touch with my body that I can recognize, like, "Hey, this actually isn't very good for me," especially if I have, more than 2, and then that's not something I wanna do any longer. Um, but I will say probably my biggest vice is caffeine because we are really in the thick of our
Mm.
entrepreneurial journey,
Mhm.
and
We're
it's
still a freaking startup
it
after 8
Yeah.
years. Like, it's exhausting.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that because I feel like so many people can see the outside of everything looks beautiful,
Yeah.
looks luxurious, it's a wellness company, all of that, and there's a lot of that goes behind the scenes with the team,
Mhm.
with money, with product, with all of that. What has been the hardest part of the journey?
I'll let Katie answer
I
this one.
mean, if I'm being brutally honest, just because you framed it in that way, it's
Yeah.
like
All of
we
those things.
we make this joke about it's not health and wellness, it's wealth and hellness, or
That's
maybe that's
amazing.
my
I'm
joke,
obsessed.
because it is that idea that it looks so beautiful and perfect on the outside, and then on the inside, you're like, "Wow, okay, we're, like, running this thing on a shoestring," like, it's literally like we're air traffic control, like, trying to
Mhm.
land, like, 10 planes at once, and everything has to go right for us to be able to, like, pull off the growth that we've had
Yeah.
and the success that we've had, and, like, something could go wrong at any moment, and, you're getting battered by a lawsuit, a bad employee, a bad sales
Mhm.
month, like, it literally never
It never
ends,
ends.
and I think as women, it's that much harder to raise capital,
Yeah.
it's that
Like,
much harder to get taken seriously. We're treated like second class citizens, even though I got a degree from Georgetown. I did investment banking at Merrill Lynch. Like Lauren's a world class TV presenter. And to like still have all those challenges is very stressful.
mm,
So I would say, like, just anyone out there listening, like, don't don't look at the like fancy photograph and think that's all that it is. Like, we're all in this together as female entrepreneurs. And if you are going through that, like, reach out to us. We
mm.
love, supporting other women. And I think ultimately we just have to be there for each other, you know.
What's a message you would send to female entrepreneurs just from what you've learned?
Um, I would say that don't give up because there are resources out there that
Mm.
are available that maybe like going the obvious route that potentially like works for men or just people from more privileged backgrounds, like you'll try and access those resources and they're not there, but just pursue other paths.
Mhm.
Yeah, in a way, it's been a blessing for us. Like, we only raised a little bit of money, like,
Mhm.
6 years ago. We tried to raise money all last year, and it wasn't successful. But now Katie and I own, like, 70% of the business still.
Mhm.
We still have a very, like, small, lean team, and we have a lot of control. We get to decide everything. We get to just, like, launch a show on female biohacking, and no one's gonna tell us not to do that. So there's actually, like, a lot of beauty in the struggle, but that's, like, still it's still very, like, stressful but I don't know, I just still have to, like, look at the positive. Like, Katie and I have never been closer. We have this,
Mm.
like, little family, at HigherDOSE. We're doing what we love, and I just, like, see this as such a unicorn regardless of whether or not other people do, and it's just, like, so gratifying to be able to help so many different people. Like,
Mhm.
really, it's all in the testimonials. We get the craziest testimonials of, like, how it's, like, cured them of this or helped let them sleep after years of not sleeping, or they got off their antidepressant pills,
Mhm.
or, like, whatever it is, we get so many authentic, amazing testimonials of how our products have helped contribute to their healing process.
Mhm.
And it's so amazing for us to see this.
That really is the most rewarding aspect of it
Yeah.
is, helping change people's lives.
Mhm.
Even my mom included, she thought she was gonna have to have back surgery, and then she
Mm.
spent 5 days sitting on our mat, and her back's been, like, perfect for 2 years since then.
Wow.
So, we hear stories like that all the time. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, the why is so important. It's like
Mhm.
coming back to that. Whenever we work with people, I'm always like, take screenshots or just have a folder that you can keep for testimonials or for feedback or for those places where you can find encouragement or the reason, like when you're actually accomplishing your why.
Yeah.
because you can forget a lot. You can get
100%.
really lost in the sauce. You can get lost in feeling imposter syndrome. You can get lost in feeling focused on competitors and what they're doing and,
Exactly.
all of that. So it's really important to come back to that why.
100% agree.
For both of you and your relationship, like it's not easy to run a business, but to do it together as women, what's that been like? I know that
It
laugh.
is.
I know this very well.
Katie and I did not know each other before we started Higher Dose
Me and
together.
Lindsay barely knew each other before
Right.
almost 30, so I get it.
And Katie came from like kind of like a fancy business, like investment banking background. And I came from this like fancy, like international model TV host, like product developer, like startup. But we started this company when we both needed it more than anything, I think.
Mm.
And we like jumped right in. We like became like instant best friends and like never left each other and like probably like too close, I would
Mhm.
say, maybe. And then as the reality of starting a startup business, fundraising, opening up a location, her and I needing to work the front desk, like, all of that reality kind of coming in, it was like really shocking for both of us. So like we have gotten into so many fights,
Mhm.
like literally fist fight almost in front of our one of our locations.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm kinda jealous.
Like we wish we had a
This
camera.
close.
Yeah, we wish we had a camera
I,
following
like,
us
am
around.
jealous of, like, people that I'm like, "Oh, man, I kinda want" like, when guys physically fight each other, I'm like, I'm kinda
It's
jealous.
such a
It's
release.
such a
It's
release.
such a
It's like with
release.
your siblings. Do you guys have sisters?
Yes,
I have
yes.
a
Dude,
brother.
Yeah,
sisters, you just maybe brothers, I don't know.
Yeah.
You can fucking go insane.
yeah.
And
You,
the
like,
next day
let
you're
it
like,
out, and
"Whatever."
then you know how to
Yes.
forgive quickly too as
Yes.
well, which I think that we learned very quickly. But no one could trigger me the way Katie could trigger
Mhm.
me. She knew exactly what to say to trigger me, and I'm sure I did for you, where I'd literally be, like,
Mhm.
shaking, so
How
upset
did you
about
get
it.
I
over it?
hope you still don't take it that personally when I call you after some of our legal calls.
How did you guys get through that? Because to be a lot of women cannot get to that point where they are that triggered by someone, they usually leave or run or they stop. So how do you continue to find each other?
Oh my gosh, we've been on a healing journey together for the last 8 years,
Mhm.
and the desire to, like, wanna learn and grow came from both of us. And us just like being really authentic and transparent with each other. And I think there was always this like deeper like love and connection, maybe from like a past life or something like
Mhm.
that, that felt so like predominant, I would say. That always like kind of just felt like she was like a sister to me. I always tell her she's like a sister to me. I definitely chose her to be a part of my journey to like take me to the next level in all aspects of my life.
Mm.
So I think it was always that. I don't know, what do you
And
say?
vice versa. I mean, it wouldn't even occur to me to not, you know, charge forward with you,
Yeah.
especially after we've been through so much. I think we are like family at this point. And then before we got to that point during the tough times, I think we did have, like, an underlying love for each other,
Yeah.
even when we were fighting, and just such a strong belief that, like, infrared is this, like, healing gift from God in a way. It sounds cheesy, but it's like,
Mhm.
I believe in what we're doing, and I believe people need it, and I believe that we're gonna be successful because of that. So, it made, like, charging forward totally worth it.
Yeah, we would always go into the sauna together after we would have a fight,
We would.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
and it would all just melt away.
Mhm.
Wow. Like little
Yeah,
prisoners. You're
literally.
just like friggin'
It
fist
just
fighting there.
melts the stress and
Wow.
anxiety away so that you could just see each other in your purest form. Sounds so cheesy, it's just like, you gotta try it.
Yeah.
But it was very helpful, and then to know that that was what our business was around was the part that was, like, really reassuring to us.
What's one tip for having hard conversations that you guys use?
I mean, I've learned a lot now. I used to be pretty aggressive and direct, and because it was so with so much, like, emotion behind it, because I was,
Uh-huh.
like, penting it up. So, now I really just try to think about how it could be delivered in a gentle way and not accusing, and try to do it in a way that is, like, giving, like, her or anyone feedback. So, like, soft and gentle is always the way. There's no need to be, like I used to be so aggressive, like, cutthroat, I could go for the jugular. And that was just because I didn't process my feelings before
Mhm.
going into the conversation.
Yeah, and it's usually your wounding talking.
Yeah.
So it's like you're hurt. you're like, well, and it's actually not the truth. Like the truth is, oh, I'm really hurt.
Mhm.
I'm really scared.
But instead it comes out as
Yeah.
you do
Yes.
this, you do
Yes.
that, you know?
Yes. It's huge. It's
And
weird because we think that part of healing can be this, but it's like the truth and honesty of that like rawness is important. But then it's also like actually processing on your own and coming together. That's what Lindsay and I do. We process on our own with our own therapist or coach and then come together. So it's the I and
mm,
not the you.
mhm,
I feel I've experiencing this. This is a story I'm telling myself
mhm,
to not damage. What about what would you say?
I'd say just trying to think about the other person's point of view,
Mhm.
before having that conversation. Like, oh,
Mhm.
I don't know why Lauren would have done that. Like, but then if I sit and think, okay, I'm sitting in Lauren's shoes and this is what she was thinking and why she handled something that way or whoever I'm talking to, I think maybe that sounds kind of like cliche, but I think it's just helpful to stop and do that.
Mhm. What would you guys say? I want to talk a little bit about wellness a little bit more before we wrap, but the what are your like non-negotiables in wellness? Like what are things that you have to do, products you have to use, things that really have changed your life?
mm. Well, we have to say, like, the sauna and
Mhm.
sweating. We both like, she has a sauna in her apartment in
Mhm.
Miami, and that was, like, the first thing I got delivered when I moved to Austin because it's still the best.
Mhm.
So, that detox and sweat. But I would say working out is
Mhm.
still like, I've definitely adjusted over the years. Like, when I used to do Navy SEAL training, I was, like, running 10 miles in the morning and then doing Muay Thai at night, and that just, like, was not serving me. So now it's, like, transformed into, like, "Oh, I have a podcast, I'm gonna take it easy and just, like, try to feel good." Or, like, I have a day off, like, I'm gonna lift heavy weights because I know that's, like, supporting my, like, hormonal needs, and, it's, like, really good to, like, have more muscle. It's just, like, being mindful around, like, what
Mhm.
exercise that I'm choosing as opposed to, like, "I need to do this, it needs to be more than last time. I need to be getting better, or I didn't work out at all," which I used to fall victim to. So I would say exercise is definitely a close second, and I'm a really good eater. Like,
Mhm.
I love eating vibrant foods that are for my gene type and quality and, like, farmers markets and, like, cooking. I don't like going out to eat anymore, so
Mhm. What's your
that
gene type?
so I learned a lot from gene testing. There's not, like,
Mhm.
types. It's actually much more intricate more in depth than that because I know about all my, like, Terry Cochran calls them my shark genes, the ones I really gotta watch out for, and the ones that are just minnows that are kinda just, like,
Mhm.
biting at your feet. So I know my shark genes, so just, like, high level, like, I have the ApoE gene, which definitely doesn't allow me to digest fats very well, so, like, deep fried is never, like, animal fats is hardly ever. And I'm all about, like, avocados and olive oils, and, like, that for me is huge because if I'm not doing that and then I take lipase and supplements to help me break down fats, because I used to have all these issues where, like, I always had, like, brain fog and, like,
Mhm.
how, like, fats support the brain? Well, my body didn't break it down, so, like, I just always felt like I had brain fog, always, and then it was, like, coming through in my skin. I would always have, like, bumps on my cheeks, like, just inflamed because I
Mhm.
just couldn't digest fats.
Mhm.
So there's that one, and then the other one that was, like, a really big one was I have the sulfur gene, which doesn't allow me to digest sulfur, so I do not eat kale, I do not eat spinach, I do not eat arugula, pretty much any, like, dark, dark, dark greens, which is, like, mind-boggling to people and myself who used to
Mhm.
be like, kale all the way. Um, like, I hardly ever have it because my sulfur gene's so bad that my mom, she always had, like, asthma and eczema, and that's just too much sulfur in the body.
Wow. And that you get tested through Terry Cochran.
So she just like you send your raw data of 23andMe
Got
and
it.
she looks at all of them like an alchemist because it's not just like a computer can print it out. It's like this one and this one and this one are definitely causing this. But then she uses kinesiology, muscle testing to like know if that gene's turned on and then muscle tests you through the whole entire. Katie always finds it so irritating because I tell everyone about Terry Cochran. She's like
Wow.
been the biggest game changer when it comes to food
Yep.
because genetically I get really messed up from food, whereas Katie is more of a mental person,
Mhm.
not a mental person. She is more like a brain chemical person. So
Yeah.
if she's stressed, if she doesn't go in nature, if she's like by too much Wi-Fi, that's what really messes her up. Whereas
Mhm.
I'm like food messes me up, which
Mhm.
is why I've always been so passionate about food, I think.
Mhm.
Mhm. That was a good summary. In summary. I think my non-negotiable is definitely exercise at least
Mm,
3 times a week, and then cold therapy, either cold plunging, or doing, like, a cryotherapy session in a cryo tank. It's just so good for a dopamine release, back to the whole mental health thing. It's so quick, it's just an
Mhm.
incredible reset.
Inflammation too.
Yeah,
My
mhm.
body
mhm.
just looks like my body composition, you can tell, like, immediately, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it produces more brown fat, which is the
Mhm.
healthy fat,
Mhm.
which is the fat you want to, like, nourish your hormones and whatnot, and then you get rid of all the toxic fat,
Mhm. It's
which is the way
crazy.
you want.
What else? Anything else?
I think, like Lauren said, nature
Mm,
and, uh, and sleep. You
Mhm.
know? I think, just making sure I get enough sleep, if not, that really throws me off.
mhm,
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
kind of the basics.
yeah. It all comes back to being simple. It's
Mhm.
all like, how can we come back to nature and come back to more simple? What's next for y'all? I feel like the products are amazing. Like, I was so excited to get them. I just feel like it's such a natural extension. So let's talk a little bit about those and then what's next for you guys.
yeah, we're definitely coming out with more products.
I love the gummies
Oh, good. Yeah,
and they're
we do
sugar
too.
free,
Sugar-free,
which is amazing. I was like,
all
I'm
of
gonna
our
have
stuff,
40
we,
of
like,
them.
stay away from artificial
Mhm.
flavors and, white sugars and just, like, binders and fillers and all of that, like, just unnecessary junk. So they're definitely not like a sweet gummy, but they still taste, like, relatively good, but I take them every morning with my coffee, and I don't get, the jitters that I would normally get from coffee. But we're very much focused more on also launching rituals and stacks. So how we take our, like, body care and our supplement line and pair that with the wellness tech. So we have, like, a detox and sweat around our sauna blanket. We have relaxation and calm and sleep around our mats. And then we have, like, anti-aging and mitochondrial health through red light therapy and glowing skin. So there's that, that'll be launched in January. We have a full body red light mat that's a game changer that everyone's gonna want. And then Katie's most excited about our cold line. So we're gonna come out with a line of cold products.
What does that mean?
Well, I feel like I don't wanna give too much away, but,
Mhm.
think of, like, our take on, like, a at-home cryofacial
Cool.
or our
Okay.
take of, like, a more accessible, portable cold plunge. So
Hmm.
those are in the works. And then aside from product, I think, we're really focusing more on content too. We
Mhm.
got such a
Mhm.
good response from Biohackers season 1 that we're working on season 2. We're also working on like our own kind of like fun interactive interview series that has its own little twist. And we really just want to build like, have this conversation around getting high naturally and wellness and what higher doses that's just beyond the pure product line,
Mm.
and be able to educate and bring information to people about things that they can do to feel better. So I think we're gonna spend more time on that as well.
And what's next for season 2 of Biohackers? What are you guys
Oh my
doing?
gosh. Well, we're just kind of continuing on because there's so many more things out there that
Mhm.
can game change you. So we're going to continue on with that. But Katie had the idea, and I had the idea too at one point where we would biohack for like maybe season 3 or season 4, where we would biohack like fertility and
Mhm.
pregnancy because that's mind blowing what you could do and most women don't know, like about gene testing or epigenetics. You can change your genes and so many like things to consider or like detoxing before,
Mhm.
what you can do while you're pregnant too, and then
Orgasmic birth,
orgasmic birth,
all of
like
that.
Mayan, like womb massage, womb
Mhm.
healing, like we are totally 100% unsupported
Yeah.
as women in
Mhm.
Western world around childbirth,
Mhm.
fertility.
Mhm.
Like we just don't know.
Yeah.
And the thing that you really need to look at is like ancient wisdom, like what have women been doing for thousands of years around the world? It's like a lot of it is like Katie said, some of it, the most profound things are actually free,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
and we don't even know it. And
Mhm.
then there are a lot of things that are rooted in science too that you could just like find out that could be helpful, like gene testing.
Yeah. It's amazing, and I love what you guys have done, and yeah, I totally feel you as entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs in the game, and, um, what you've done has changed my life and been such a beautiful aspect of my life and my routine, so I'm really grateful. I know so many people in our audience just really love what you do. So I really appreciate you guys coming in and telling us more about your story and telling us more about your products. It's been such a blast. And I'm grateful to work with you.
Aw,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank
This has been
you.
so much fun.
And I love like female entrepreneur vibes. We can turn off the mics and then let it rip. Okay, guys, we will see you on the next one. I love you. Bye.
Okay, the holidays came early this year, my girls. If you're still not sure what to get the man in your life, then honestly, look no further. I got you. Manscaped is where I'm going. The leading men's hygiene brand just launched new products that your man will actually use. Have you ever like bought him some gifts and it's still in his closet? They have the body buffer as one of their new products. Love it. Okay. It's time that you give the man in your life the gift of smooth balls and a good shower. You know what I mean? Say no more. You're going to get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com/almost 30. So inside the performance package, which I love and I gave to Sean this past year, you'll find the signature lawnmower 4.0. This electric trimmer has proprietary advanced skin safe technology. So if you're wanting, a little smooth ball action, this one's perfect. I mean, how hilarious. I'm talking like this, but it's true. I know you guys relate. Their hygiene bundle also comes with a pair of Manscaped anti-chafing boxers. Will keep his package just feeling good all day long. And they are going beyond the groin with their new ultra premium body wash, which is awesome. It's infused with aloe vera and sea salt to keep his skin feeling super clean, nice and moisturized. It smells delicious. I smelled it the other day. I was like, get over here. And as I mentioned, they also launched their new body buffer. This is 100% antibacterial body scrubber, and it's just what he needs to keep him fresh and clean this holiday season, baby. All right, 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com/almost 30. Get your man a gift you'll both enjoy. The gift of Manscaped, his jingle balls will thank you. I'm sorry, I had to do it. Manscaped.com/almost 30, 20% off with free shipping. Okay, shout out to all of my creators and marketers, designers, anyone who wants to make content that stands out online. I'm talking to you. I want to introduce you to Issuu, ISSUU. This is the all-in-one platform to create and distribute beautiful digital content. It's super unique. People are going to be like, wait, what? Double take it. And you want attention from people online. It's very hard to get, but this is going to get it for you. From marketing materials to magazines to flip books and brochures and more. No attaching a PDF to an email. It's outdated. Issuu makes content better. Issuu also works seamlessly with the tools that you already use, like Canva. I use Canva, Dropbox, InDesign. Make it once. That's it. And distribute it everywhere without reformatting. Issuu takes care of it for you. Your content is already optimized for engagement and ready to share. How freaking amazing. So first impressions are everything. Let's make sure they count. Use Issuu. This platform is incredibly easy to use, and you can start using Issuu for free. They also offer premium features that give a more customized experience, which we recommend and we use. But you can get started today for free. Or if you sign up for a premium account, you will get 50% off when you go to issuu.com/podcast and use the promo code almost30. That's ISSUU.com/podcast and use the promo code almost30 at checkout for your free account or 50% off your premium account. That's issuu.com/podcast with promo code almost30.
Thank you so much to Lauren and Katie from HigherDOSE. This was such a blast. And again, it's higherdose.com and use code almost30 to get 15% off and get everyone you know a gift.
Truly, it's such a good spot. And thank you to our other sponsors for this episode. Thank you to Manscaped, Issuu, Hair Love, and Canvas Prints. You can find all discounts in our show notes as well as on almost30.com. And this is holiday season. I know y'all are scrambling for some gifts. So check out our sponsor page. We have tons of ways to save on amazing products that Krista and I have vetted for you.
Yeah, and we have a gift guide coming out in the next week where we share our favorite gifts for people, whether they're spiritual or not. We want to support you in finding the most intentional gift for the people that you love. Almost30.com, Almost 30 podcast on Instagram and TikTok. We are TikToking. It has been so much fun. And we will see you on the next one. Thanks for being a part of our community.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.